uniforms last week. A team that has been run out of L.A., laughed off the court. They laughed the Knicks off the court. You saw D'Antoni sneering on the bench in the third quarter, giggling with his assistants as the Lakers went up and down the floor and got basket after basket and layup and dunk after dunk on this Knicks team. So if you're the Knicks, how could you possibly show your faces after that game? This is the low of the low. This is it. This is back up the truck. And you know what? I don't care who goes. If they all go, good riddance. I don't care if Carmelo goes. I don't care if Chandler goes. I don't care who goes. They can all go. If you cleaned the uniforms last night, you can go. If you taped an ankle last night, you can go too. Anybody who touched anything that had to do with that game last night, if you never come back, I'm happy. Ever. If I'm Phil Jackson, I'd lock the doors before the Sacramento game. I'd bring up the D-League team. I'd bring up a whole new team and play them tonight. After watching that last night. 87 points in 2 quarters to this Laker team? I guarantee you couldn't name 5 guys on the Lakers. And there's Carmelo, acting tough at the start of the fourth quarter. What, you're down 45 now? You're going to start to get tough on defense? And the Lakers were loving it. They came out in the fourth quarter and they were pressing the Knicks up 40. They're loving it. D'Antoni's figuring, listen, I'm getting fired, but I'm going to have this night to remember. Because I'm making the Knicks look even worse than I look. I mean, they're going to run D'Antoni out of L.A. But before he leaves, he's going to remember the night he scored 51 and a quarter on the Knicks. Think about it. The East is there for pickings. You got teams that are falling apart. You not only blow a bad lead, a big lead to Cleveland at home, when you actually were making a run. Now you go to the West Coast, and it's all right in front of you, and you're saying the right thing, and you go out there on that court and play that way against a bunch of second and third stringers and D-League players. This was the Knicks at their all-time lowest. I mean, I don't know where Phil Jackson was last night, but can you imagine Phil Jackson watching this last night? Can you imagine getting a microphone in front of Phil Jackson in the third quarter last night? Watching this team? Phil, what do you think you got to change? What wouldn't you change? Think about it. The greatest Laker teams, and the Lakers have had some of the greatest teams in history, have never scored 51 points in a quarter. And the worst Knicks teams, and we can think of some really bad ones, never allowed that till last night. And there's Woodson. Now we really didn't have any answers for him. Oh, really? What was your first clue? And you know what? Why at some point in the third quarter didn't you just clean the court? When you have a team not even trying. I mean, think about how hard it is to score 50 points in a quarter. It's almost like you have to get out of the way to let somebody score 50 points. The Lakers scored 14 points in the first quarter last night. 14. They scored 87 points in the next 2 quarters. So we're not talking effort here. We're not talking a game that went bad. We are talking about a team that flat quit, that decided, you know what, we are not going to lift a finger for our coach, for each other, for this uniform, for the playoff effort, for anything. We are just going to go out tonight and, wherever they're going to hang out last night in L.A. Or maybe they did that the night before. Whatever the situation, last night